What's going on, everybody? So you're thinking about buying a house in Sparwood, British Columbia, Canada. And I'm here to tell you, never buy these types of homes unless, of course, you are very handy, certified carpenter, electrician, plumber, or know how to renovate a home and can get at it yourself. One of the things that can be tough is finding trades to do some of the work. So let's get into this. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to help you, and I'm going to show you what you need to know before you jump into a money pit. There's certain things that we need to talk about. Money pits aren't good, so let's make your purchase in Sparwood a gooder. Never buy, far too often, homes in Sparwood are, back in the day, they were just built. Didn't take into account the views, didn't take into account the location. Sparwood is a very busy place when it comes to trains. The coal mine, when the coal mines are going, you can get, I think, up to about 32 trains a day running through that town and through Sparwood. And every time they go through, right? Get the old, the horns blowing. So you don't want to be next to that tracks there, do you? So, or especially where the crossing, the roads cross the tracks and the guys have to pull on the horn. So you might want to consider that. Bad location of homes, you don't want to necessarily have your nice house, great backyard, and then all of a sudden you've got, there's only a couple places in Sparwood where you might have this, but you'll have an apartment building nearby or in your backyard. So just pay attention to certain things like that. It might be really cheap and appealing today and you think you can get through that. You probably can, but when it comes to reselling your home, you might not be able to get back what you thought you were going to be able to get back out of the property. Consider is that obvious money pit. Okay, when you are looking at houses, we're going to go around, we're going to see a bunch, right? We're going to see houses that are 300,000 all the way up to 600,000, for example. So these are all houses built in the 1920s to the 1990s, maybe even 2000s. Okay, so we're going to go see these houses and we're going to see obviously different things. Some of the houses, the older they are, some might have cracks, some might have interesting basements. You might see some houses that have coal chutes in them. Yeah, they used to heat their houses with coal. So you're going to see some stuff. You might see dirt basements. You might see wood foundation. You might see cracks in the existing foundation. You know, those are all things you got to keep to pay attention to. Okay. So when you see those houses that you know that need some work, be kind of prepared for the amount of work that it's going to be. You don't want to be surprised. And the other thing that you'll want to keep track of is, you know, you will see some houses that have had obvious renovations done to them. And I'm going to say in Sparwood, probably up to about the year 2000 or the year 2010, quite possibly houses there. When they were being renovated, they didn't have to actually get all the permits that you think you need to get today, just because we're small towns. Fernie, we didn't so much. Now you do. Sparwood, now you do, and you probably didn't back then neither. You could, you can finish off your basement, and hopefully, anytime I renovated a house, I was a good grunt, right? And I could see and plan and design, but I'm not a carpenter. I am not a plumber. I am not an electrician. I'm a grunt. Give me something, I could pull it, break it, carry it. That's about it. Okay. So when I was doing renovations, I would bring in the guys that knew what they were doing. They were so much faster, better job, better work. Made so much more sense. Okay, so watch out for the mystery renovation home. Some of the common issues with some of the Sparwood homes, you get into the poly B plumbing on the post 1990 kind of era of for the plumbing. Some upgrades to those. Some of the older homes might have knob and tube for the electrical. Probably out of service now, but you'll want to double check on some of those things because those can be big jobs. So old wiring, old plumbing, water damage and mold. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. You'll always look down at the bottom of in the basement. You always look to see if there's any watermarks where the concrete meets the concrete flooring. Okay, any weird colorations in the corners, on the drywall and on the paint. Okay, watch for that kind of stuff. Weird smells. That's another one. You get into some of these houses, dogs, cats, not a big fan. You're gonna have some weird smells. And if they have carpet, it's in the carpet. So if you have allergies, that kind of stuff, you're gonna you're gonna have to replace those floors. Asbestos. Some of the houses built before 1990 will have asbestos in them. Asbestos in the insulation. Now, asbestos is okay as long as you don't disrupt it. As soon as you disrupt it, you make the particles airborne, and then that is when it becomes an issue. Some of the older houses that have had the lead paint and those tiles that we grew up on in the kitchen and in the basement, usually in the kitchen, and they're like square little tiles and they're all tacked down for not pre-lino type stuff, right? Those usually have asbestos in it. You want to have that double checked, okay? Because sometimes they may do things to cover up things. Some of the common issues with the newer homes. So you think you're going to buy a new home and avoid a lot of these issues. Well, some new home, always get a home inspector to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, so at least you know where you're starting from. But some of the new homes, they might have put the foundation in quick, might have had some settling, some cracking. Definitely want to take note of those. Even though it's covered by warranty, warranty doesn't matter if the builder goes out of business. So use a reputable builder. Settling cracks are kind of normal. You'll see them up in the corners. I got a few in the office here. There is some settling going on. Even if the structure is sound, the interior walls sometimes can just, settle because now there's a second floor and someone's going up on the second floor. And anyways, just weight distribution and that kind of stuff. One of the things that you should really pay attention to, in my opinion, being a former landscaper, is drainage problems. Make sure that the subgrade is draining away from your home, not pooling up against your foundation. Pools up, so pay attention when it rains. If it's pooling up against your foundation, you need to regrade the subgrade so that when water comes down, it goes away from your foundation, doesn't pool up against your foundation, because then it will slowly seep down and seep in, cause you nothing but problemo. Sometimes your builder, he might be in a rush. If he's in a rush and he has builder flaws, kind of, they'll forget to do things. That we've been in houses, we've all seen the stories, we've seen the shows where, yeah, this guy hooked up this and that, but didn't hook up the cold water, or didn't hooked up the cold to the hot, and then they got to go back and fix it. There's any number of things that can go wrong, right? But usually because somebody's in a rush. Heating and cooling issues. When they're putting the house together, make sure that they are putting the windows in properly, the doors in properly. Do a test, especially in the winter time. I used to live in a house when I was going to school. I used to live in a place in Lethbridge, fourplex, right across from the university. And when it was windy in Lethbridge. In the bedroom, I used to be able to feel the wind come through, not the window, but around the window. Like you could see the drapes moving, and you would feel it. It would hit you. And so, yeah, it was cold. Pay attention to those kind of things. And the other thing that's problem with new house, your drainage, but your landscaping, your settling, your driveway settling, your concrete settling around your walkways. Hopefully they did it properly and they did the proper compaction and backfill and compaction and backfill and the sub is good under your driveway and under your concrete walkway. Your trees. So it's not gonna, so for example, right now, if you're in Lower Sparwood or in Sparwood Heights, it's all mature for the most part. Mature trees, mature plants. Cherrywood, you'll have a few less. It's a newer subdivision, so the trees will be a little bit smaller. Over in Whiskey Jack, depends on which area of Whiskey Jack, they'll be smaller as well, maybe not as well developed. It's usually based on the age of the house, right? When they planted that tree. Some of these trees will take a long time, so don't be afraid to spend another $50, get a bigger tree. Better chance of that thing living and surviving. And then one more tidbit here for you is underground sprinklers. You're gonna move here, you're gonna move into a brand new house, you're gonna love it. But one of the best selling features about being out here is the days off, is that you're not messing around with your yard. You wanna go and play. You're going to the lake, you're going to the mountains, you're going on a hike, you're going fishing, you're doing all the things, you're busy. So, in a sprinkler system, take care of those trees, take care of your landscaping. It's automatic, takes care of itself. You'll never, ever hire that kid to cut your grass. Don't worry about it. You're making big bucks at the mine, hire a kid, 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 40 bucks. Cut my yard, kid. I used to cut a lot of yards. Do a home inspection. Never skip your home inspection. I always suggest it. If you decide not to do it, it's not because I told you not to. New home, old home, mid-range home, doesn't matter. Even a condo. You might want to get an inspection. Okay? I always suggest get an inspection. So then you know exactly what's going on. They'll check all the receptacles. They'll check the plumbing. They'll check the electrical. They'll check your furnace. They'll give you some ideas. They'll say, hey, whoa, this furnace needs servicing. This hot water tank is on its last legs. Pay attention to these types of things. These guys are there to help you. Now, one caveat, if they do come back and they say, hey, and they get really specific on a new plumbing, new electrical type of new house program that they might not be overly familiar with, if something comes up that seems a little weird, contact the professional. Contact the plumber, the electrical guy, the HVAC guy, the mechanical guy, whatever it is, and you get them to come in and explain the service that's required or do it. Because sometimes the home inspector, he's more of a generalist, not exactly a specialist. So he might miss something, or he might draw attention to something that doesn't need brought attention. I'm gonna do my best to help you find the house of your dreams, keep you out of a money pit, keep you out of areas that I don't believe you should be in. Everybody's a little bit different. Somebody needs more space because they have kids and a family. Some just need a place to sleep because they're working shift work and don't need to be there all the time. Doesn't matter, whatever it is that you need is what you need, and that is the correct answer. I am here to help at any time. 250-430-1162. All right. I love it. My family loves it. And this is exciting. I'm excited for you. We're going to have fun. At the end of the day, my goal is that 10 years from now, you're going to love me because I helped you get the right house for your dream. I look forward to talking to you. Smash that like button. Subscribe. And yeah, pay attention. I'll be sending out more of this stuff. I'm going to try and do what I can over the Elk Valley and the East Kootenays here.